Hey, welcome to Movie Zone. This video is a recap of a black comedy slasher movie released in 2017, Happy Death Day. The movie starts with an university student, Tree, who wakes up in her ex-classmate dorm room, Carter Davis, after getting super drunk from her last night's birthday party. Carter notices her wake up and tells what happened that night. She ignores her father's phone call. It gets awkward as she asks him for her dress, and he defends himself, saying that he folded her clothes because it's too wrinkly. He got her Tylenol as she was having a headache. Then she bumps into his friend, who was asking him whether he slept with her or not. Busted. As she was walking down the garden walkway, she notices few things. 1. A guy stares at her weirdly. 2. A lady asks to fill up a form. 3. Couple runs after the water sprinkler. 4. A car makes an alarm noise. 5. A guy passing out. 6. She bumps into Tim, who questions her for not responding to any of his texts. She goes to her dorm room and ignores her junior. Danielle informs her about their girls' meeting during breakfast, and she gets surprised when her housemate and sorority, Lori Spingler, baked a cupcake for her birthday. She throws away the cupcake in the garbage and causes Lori to get mad. She attends to Mr. Gregory class a bit late. Then during their meetup, everybody bombard on Becky as she joins them late with a tray full of food. Since they all miss their breakfast, Becky and Carter clash on each other, causing her coffee spills over Tree. He apologizes and hands over her bracelet, then leaves immediately. Again, she ignores her father's phone call and is advised by Lori not to do bad things. She goes to her Professor Gregory's room. Now we know why Lori said that. She is having an affair with her married professor. Things get awkward as his wife shows up at the door. That night, she walks alone to a party and sees her school mascots passing by her. Wait, did you guys see that? On her way, she hears a birthday background music coming from a toy in the middle of the road. She thinks her friends are messing up with her. Then she is scared when a guy in the school mascot appears out of nowhere and stares at her without saying anything. He leaves after she says she is going to call the cops. That masked guy tries to stab her, but she runs away. As she stumbled down, the guy murders her. We see her get up from the same bed, same shirt in Carter's dorm room. Carter says the same things he said previously. As he was looking for Tylenol, she told him where it was, then waits for his friend to appear in front of the door. While walking, she again notices 1. That same guy stares at her. 2. That same lady asking for the form fill-ups. 3. Water sprinkler. 4. Car alarm. 5. That same guy passed out. 6. Tim questions her for not responding to his texts. She sees her junior greeting her. Danielle shows up at the staircase. We felt like we had a deja vu, just like Tree is thinking. Everything repeats again. She shouts "watch out" to Becky, but Carter clashes with Becky and spills the coffee on her. He apologizes and leaves, but she reminds him he forgot to give back her bracelet. Then she goes to Mr. Gregory's room, and he says it's normal to fall in love with older guys, and pulls her closer, just as she mentioned his wife. They heard his wife knock on the door next as the boys walk past her. This time she turns around and notices a masked guy staring at her back. Again, the same toy with birthday music is played, but Tree runs back to her dorm. She finds out the door was locked, and the next second masked guy appears, punched him right on his face, and it was a surprise birthday party for her. As she follows Nick into the room, masked killer appears behind her in front of the mirror, but she knows that is Nick, who wants to scare her. Later, Nick plays a song super loud and starts dancing madly. The masked killer walks slowly and stabs him multiple times. Tree thought Nick again messing up with her, but it turns out to be the real killer. Tree attacks him and tries to escape, but that killer pushes her over the bed. She screams for help when a drunken guy opens the door, but the masked killer murders her, stabbing on her face. Again, she wakes up from the same bed in Carter's room. Now she feels something isn't right about the situation. She freaks out and runs away from there. She tells Lori about she relived the day twice already, and someone tries to kill her. Lori advises her to get some rest, and it would be fine later. She blockades her window and locks her room's door to avoid getting murdered again. Poor Tree. Very little she knows the masked guy was in her washroom and he kills her. She wakes up freaking out and getting panicked seeing the same thing over and over. She hugs Carter and asks for his help. He says that this day must be a special one. And that's why it's getting repeated. She realizes it's her birthday, and the killer wants to murder her on her birthday. He suggests she utilize the time loop to find the real killer. She lists down the suspects, then trails them, and ends up getting murdered every time. Again and again. When she was hit so hard on her head by killer, she wakes up and then faints because of the previous death. Then she realizes she's in campus hospital. Gregory says it's a miracle that she's still alive with major injuries on her body. As he leaves, she sneaks out into his room looking for his car key and finds the killer mask under the drawer. She feels suspicious of him, but then he is killed by the masked killer. He chases her, but luckily she escapes from him in Gregory's car. Later she was pulled over by the police. She asks the policeman to arrest her. Thinking she would be safe in jail, the policeman was hit by a car and died on the spot. It is none other than that masked guy. He kills her by exploding the car. Next she again explains to Carter and reveals her mom passed away 3 years ago and they share the same birthday. Tree gets shocked when a serial killer, John Toombs, is shown on the local news of being hospitalized in the campus hospital. She thinks that he is the masked killer. She rushes to the place and warns the workers there. The masked guy tries to shoot her, but she escapes. He takes off his mask and points the gun at her. Carter saved her by tackling him down, but he killed Carter instead. He chases her near to the bell tower, and she almost kills him, but realizes that the time loop will end once Toombs is dead. She needs Carter back, so she kills herself by hanging on the bell rope. Day repeated. She walked out very confidently after finding out the way to end the time loop. She apologizes to Lori for being the worst roommate. She tells Gregory to end the affair they are having. After getting impressed by Carter, she kisses him and asks him to take her out later. Then she meets her father, who was trying to reach her for so long. She apologized to him for ignoring his calls and hurting him in the past. That night, she gets ready with a knife to the campus hospital. She asks the guard to get help from the police. Before Toombs escapes, she tries to kill him, but he chokes her and throws her against the wall. And finally, she kills him with the gun. Later, she celebrates her birthday with Carter. Again, she wakes up the same day. What? It's not over yet. She freaks out to the core. She realizes that the last thing she did before dying was she ate the cupcake Lori made for her. Killer revealed, Lori. She poisons the cupcake and also framed Toombs as the killer since she's the nurse there made her job even easier. Lori had access to him and drugged him. Lori reveals that she has an affair with Gregory, but she can't accept the fact that he chooses Tree over her. They start fighting and Tree stuffs the cupcake into Lori's mouth and kicks her out of the window. She died on the spot, and the movie ends with Tree wakes up. No, it's not over yet. She fears that she is stuck in a time loop, but Carter reveals that he was pranking her. The movie ends with them kissing each other.